Live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts right now.
Oh, isn't this just magical on a Monday? And by the way, we are officially starting the week off because I've got the week off during the holidays of Thanksgiving coming up around the corner on a Thursday too, but we are here on a Monday. Jake the Snake Silva and, of course, our very own Darion Hopkins here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Like we said before, we are live on all social media platforms in the 702 and also down up in Philly. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and, of course, on Instagram is where you can like and follow to keep you guys up to date with future and past shows. I don't know about you, Darion, but I got gray hairs after watching last night's game. I'm serious.
You got gray hairs. I got gray hairs in a negative way when it came to football. So,
oh Lord,
Lord.
And what are we at? Like 6-7 games left to go. 6-7 of them left to go.
Yeah, about 6 games because it's week 11.
Yeah,
6 games.
Yeah, and there's just been an awful lot. I mean, it's been an awful lot to really kind of digest and really kind of process through. But I mean, I think we got a lot of really good stuff. So let me just start out with this here this morning, because we had a lot of stories building up in the NFL all throughout yesterday and on the incredible weekend. First and foremost, I want to point this out because we have no idea who we really trust as far as is their health status at 110%. And can they actually make a long, deep run into the playoffs, get to the championship, and maybe potentially become Super Bowl contenders? Because yesterday, all of us have been on the hype train with the Buffalo Bills. I love Josh Allen. I love Stephon Diggs. I love Sean McDermott and Brian Dable and the rest of, this group. But yesterday gave you a piece of something. Because remember, the Colts have been brewing up all from just of what they got last year with a Phillip Rivers quarterback and where they were in the playoffs. This was a reminder from the Colts standpoint to the Buffalo Bills, because remember, this was their first trip in the playoffs that they faced each other, and the Bills luckily escaped one. The Colts this year, and Darion's my witness, I said this, the first 5 weeks was not going to be easy for Indy. It was not.
Absolutely not. You was on the money for that. You was definitely on the money.
Yeah, and you had to think about it. There was an injured Carson Wentz that you were dealing with. There were a couple of injuries that were banged up on the offensive line, not to mention an injured T.Y. Hilton, who now is coming back healthy, and the rest of the defensive squad, too. These last couple of games that the Colts have been playing, I'll be honest with you, man, this is scary to watch the Colts be on a streak right now. Everybody is getting healthy. The playmaking is actually being superb. I'm not giving Carson Wentz all that much hype, but
he's playing well to a point where they're winning football games. So
and everyone is bought in. And by the way, how about Jonathan freaking Taylor? 5 total touchdowns yesterday against a tough Bills team that just was unprepared. And so it leaves you to think, because in the Vegas bets, Buffalo was 5-1 as Super Bowl odds.
Right.
This didn't look like 5-1. This was a reminder that the league and the conference is wide open in the AFC. So, and I love the fact that, and we anticipated the Colts, knowing that the Titans of where they are, they're the number 1 seed. They're first right now in the South, but the Colts are creeping on in. And I think Frank Reich, and this is why people needed to slow down on Chris Ballard. He is not an idiot. He is the smartest general manager in this league out of probably the 3 or 4 total. And this is why Chris Ballard is good at what he does. He knows the outcomes. He knows the risks, but he's willing to invest because there's a reward behind it. Right. Everybody remembered when the Carson Wentz trade went on. They're like, that's a risk. Carson Wentz.
Everybody was against it.
Yeah.
They were against. They're like, oh, Carson Wentz is going to flop. He's not going to do well in this system. He's been hurt the whole preseason. They went in on Carson Wentz, and now that guy only got 3 interceptions. Probably, I think 4, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he only got like 3 interceptions so far this year. People need to get off of Carson Wentz back. That means that he does not have to do it all by himself. He got a reliable running back. He got a reliable offensive line. He has a reliable receiving core, which he did not have all 3 of those in Philadelphia. So those Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, y'all loving what Jalen Hurts is doing right now, but they got to respect what Carson Wentz is doing in Indianapolis.
Right. And people wanted to know, like, how is Carson? This is which, of course, is going to be the next question that people are going to hold by the time playoffs come up. Is Carson Wentz going to be 110% come the playoffs? That's left to be said. There's only about 6 games left of the season. It's a possibility, but I think with the way that the Colts are rolling, because we said I said AFC Championship or bust. The second Carson Wentz came in here, because you don't just upgrade from Phillip Rivers to a Carson Wentz for nothing. Everybody knows their roles. And as I've said before, this is the top line, offensive line. Anybody in this league, any quarterback. I mean, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes with an offensive line like this? Could you imagine Derek Carr with an offensive line like this?
I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that.
But this is where it's like, this is quarterback friendly.
Right.
Carson Wentz, I mean, this could not have happened better in his situation.
At a better time.
Yeah. And so T.Y. Hilton is getting healthy. Quentin Nelson is healthy at the line. Everybody is getting healthy at the right time. Remember, this in any sport you play, this is not about how you start off a season. We know the teams that are usually red hot when it comes to September, October time, whatever. But when you're December, January, that's the best time you want to be healthy and ready to roll. February is always the mark every one of us sports fans wait for, because it's Super Bowl time.
Right.
But when it's December, January, this is where I think the Colts are going on a complete tear. And I'll be honest, this looks exactly what Chris Ballard was trying to prove. That Carson Wentz is not exactly inaccurate as people think. Yes, he has a history of injuries, but we have a better offensive line in front of him to ensure that he can trust it. And we have really, really good offensive pieces. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hill. It's deep.
So they didn't really miss it out of that offense is a tight end. For real.
Yeah, honestly. And they could have. This is what's so funny about it, because if you looked at last night where you had Pat Freiermuth, he was getting more opportunities than Eric Ebron is. Could you imagine if Eric Ebron didn't leave Indianapolis and would have This is where I think the Colts right now are playing like they are going to be AFC Championship contenders. I'm not making this very high. I cannot say Super Bowl because it's always unpredictable. But the way that this whole blueprint has been built out by Chris Ballard, it's all working from here. And all it takes is injuries that might tweak a few things, that might get him out of rhythm. But this is where you look at the Colts and you're thinking, man, it's got to be a great day to be an Indy fan. Everybody healthy, everybody executing at the right time.
As of right now, if you are a Colts fan, be happy. Be happy to be a Colts fan right now, because right now people can say what they want. And I'm going to say this right here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Since King Henry is out, Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football. Since King Henry been out, Jonathan Taylor took those reins and said, I am King Jonathan Taylor now. Period.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And think about this. This is why I was so excited, yet this was such a steal of the draft when he got drafted, because the Colts, the only 2 best running backs that they have had. They've had a number of them, but the other best ones that they've had in their organization's history was Edgerrin James and Joseph Adai. You could throw in Dominic Rhodes, like if you want, or Ahmad Bradshaw, but Bradshaw always had really good spurts when he was with the Giants. But the rest of this whole thing has been built upon pass catching running backs, a running back like Jonathan Taylor who could bust through a D line and score for points. That's a fact. Yeah. If Carson Wentz wins the Super Bowl, that is a slap in the face for the Eagles, but not even just the Eagles. That's a slap in the face for Howie Roseman. Because this is where you knew, as we said, a door that should have never been open, but yet Eagles fans have been doing all that they can to really just kind of fix this all up, get them better, and they're looking good. I think there's potential, but I don't think it would be the same if you had Carson Wentz and you had a healthy offensive line. I think Philadelphia would have never been in this point. So here's what's interesting. So I'll tell you what. Me and my girlfriend, we had a lunch date, and it was really, really good. She took me out to this one little cafe. I remember going to it as a kid. I was like, 5, 6 years old, because I loved eating their pancakes. So I ended up going there. We both ended up ordering these candy bacon BLTs. My God, it was fabulous. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with it. Fabulous BLTs, fries, tater tots, the whole 9 yards. Right. Everything looked fantastic. But you know what caught my eye that I really, really did not enjoy?
What?
Is how in the hell did the Cowboys, you had an opportunity with a banged up defense. Now, Kansas City Chiefs fans, we know right now are like, we're getting back up onto the line. We're getting back into the division. The offense and the team is looking better. We're making a run, baby. Dallas, and what's interesting about how they played yesterday, you have Dak Prescott healthy. Now, granted, Amari Cooper was not there, but you didn't have to fully rely on him. You still have Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. That whole game from there, I don't know what kind of Cowboys team we got. But that was not the one that you would usually see, because this is a team that was coming off of a massive win, 43-3, against a sub-500 Atlanta Falcons team. And then the second they played the Kansas City Chiefs, it was bad. It was bad. And mind you, they have only won one of the 3 AFC West matchups. That was the Chargers. But the Chargers beat themselves. The other 2, Denver, you got embarrassed at home against Denver. And then you go on the road to Kansas City, which is not an easy environment because you're talking about Arrowhead. There's a ton of fans up over there that will get in Dak Prescott's head. But this was not something that, the Cowboys should even take lightly, because we think of Super Bowl predictions all the time. I guarantee you, if that was a Super Bowl, that would have been more of just Kansas City. They're relying heavily upon their offense to really be clutch. But that defense, as I said, as suspect of it is, they got all over Dak Prescott's head. And I think, honestly, Steve Spagnuolo outcoached Kellen Moore. And I've told people Kellen Moore is not a terrible offensive coordinator. I think he still has more things to learn in this league. I mean, give him 10 years in this league, he'll be probably one of the best offensive coordinators, at least top 5, top 10. But what you saw there yesterday from Dallas and Kansas City is that Dallas, they're still holding the division lead. But if you're playing Washington, New York, and Philadelphia, the last thing you want to do is lose the division lead. Because ultimately, you're trying to get back in the playoffs. But that game yesterday, I don't know what we got out of that one. 19-9.
I was very disappointed in Dallas.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed because I wanted the Chiefs to lose after they demolish my Las Vegas Raiders. But it is what it is. You have duds like that. No Amari Cooper. Then CeeDee Lamb goes out with a concussion. You really don't have no backups that could be just as a threat. I think they'll bounce back. I just think they'll bounce back. They're going to play at home against us, and I'm picking. I'm saying it right here on record. I'm not picking the Raiders the rest of the year. I'm just not. And fans is going to be mad about that, and I really don't care at this point. Cowboys are going to smoke us on Thanksgiving. I don't even care if we win.
And
I don't even care.
And think about it. That's a short rest day too, because knowing you've got Thanksgiving. I mean, I love watching Thanksgiving games, but the fact that the Raiders are getting a taste of it on Thanksgiving is not going to be very, very easy. With short days rest, knowing you're coming off of a loss against Cincinnati at home, that's not going to be as easy. But Dallas, like I said, this will be the last game they play an AFC West opponent, knowing that they're 1-2 against AFC West opponents this year. So final stretch of it could be that opportunity. But
I'm gonna just be real. And Raiders fans, if y'all watching this, we are the weakest team in the AFC West. Sorry to say.
There's just so much to break down of it, but I'm telling you, I mean, the only thing that I can take out of from the Kansas City Chiefs is people want to hype up and say that, oh, they're back. Oh, they're back. I would not be very overly hyped about that yet. Just because
about what?
About the Kansas City Chiefs are they back to their winning ways? We don't know that yet. They're only winning the game so far because they're trusting their core of what they have. But
I mean, at this point, I think they are. I'm sorry to say, but I think they are. I think the way they just smacked us, they just smacked, the Raiders around like they little sisters, or I can't say what I want to say because I'm trying to keep it PG. Smack them around like they little, like the Raiders are little sissies, because that's what we are. But we made sure the Chiefs was going to come back. Mm-hmm. We put that spark in the Chiefs. So because we didn't put that spark in ourselves, so we just gave up and let the Chiefs do whatever they want to us, and now they feel like they're back. They beat us and they beat the Cowboys. So now they feel like they're the kings of the AFC West again, in which they probably will be. Who knows?
Well, and you got to think about it, though, too, because their only loss in division that they came from was the Chargers this year, and which was a massive win because of the fact of it being tough coaching calls. And then not to mention, you had to trust everybody in that core from offense to defense. So it will be interesting down the stretch from how the Chiefs are going to play and how they're going to finish up. So it'll be interesting to see what the Chiefs will look like. I'm not sold yet as far as them back to their winning ways, but they are winning games, but they're only kind of playing this out. And then remember, because the record itself, I know where they're sitting at in the division, but every team knows exactly where to find their weak spots. So
I agree, but I just feel like offensively they are back. Defensively, they're not.
Yeah.
But we've seen this before with the Chiefs when they won their first Super Bowl. They didn't have a great defense.
Yeah.
They had a great offense.
And on top of all of that, you had a Patrick Mahomes who was injured only up on one game, and they had trusted Matt Moore. So they just trust every single one of their core pieces.
Yeah.
So let's just see how the rest of the stretch goes. But I'm just holding that thought right now for Kansas City, right? As it stands. But if they do continue the streak, then I will say they'll be back to being a threat again. Coming up next. So, there's a lot of considerations happening in the quarterback position, only for certain teams. There are a bunch of teams right now that I think, since we're only 6 weeks away from the end of the regular season. There are some serious considerations at their quarterback position for certain teams, and we'll name them off coming up after this one, because I think this is important for these teams I've got listed down. And I've paid attention to the rest of the last 3 games of the season so far. And now what's going to be the next move moving forward. So
is one of those teams the Raiders?
It's not actually. It's
well,
not.
I think you need to add them to the list.
Well, guys, like we said, we're
going to tell you why on the next. We're going to tell you why in the next segment.
Definitely. Well, guys, as we said before, I mean, it's always good being up onto the holiday season, but you know what? There's so much that are going on. But that doesn't mean that we're shying away from every single one of these. I'm not shying away from every single one of these bet lines that are happening right now, and they're happening up on one of the the brand new big time apps that's happening here on the Snake Sports Talk Show that I keep talking about, SuperDraft Pro. We've got something in store for you guys, because right now it's sign-up season. We know it for sure. Holiday season's right here around the corner, but sign-up season is big in SuperDraft Pro, because if you guys end up signing up here on SuperDraft Pro and you end up referring some friends, families, and coworkers on the app as well, there are some I think there's also, like, you refer a friend, it's $20. It's $20 automatically right to you when you have people sign up, and so on and so forth. And of course, the next person gets $20 also. So how about that for your buy-in? SuperDraft Pro is more than just an app itself. There are bet lines that are happening every day of every week from all of your major sports. But it ain't even just a daily buy-in. This is more of a monthly subscription. And think about it, because as an elite coach, when you're signing up for Elite, only $100 a month. Think about how many contests you'd be getting into. 5, 6. I've gone into 12 contests for free, all on a monthly subscription, and winning loads and loads of money. But I ain't talking from a betting standpoint, but I'm also talking about from a business standpoint and growing a community. Because not only do you just pay to play free games, you also get paid to share it with your friends, families, and coworkers. It's really awesome. If you guys ever want any information on SuperDraft Pro, definitely send us a message, and we will give you all the info into what SuperDraft Pro is all about. Sign up today at superdraftpro.com. Link is also in the bio and in the description as well to get yourself signed up. Download it on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store, as we have the Fantasy app and the Sportsbook app. That's superdraftpro.com. SuperDraft Pro is also a proud partner of Caesars Entertainment.
Let's go.
It's time!
I feel like the grass is green, and everything I do is unseen. But I know that's just in my mind. I know everything is just in my mind. Do you really want to be famous? Do you really want to be a superstar? Do you really want to get dangerous? Do you even know where the groupies are? Bitches out here be shameless, and I really wonder where their parents are. Look around, everything changes. It feels like I've been buried alive. Let it breathe. It feels like I've been buried.
Bitch, I'm a ball, bitch, I'm a ball. Don't get no fuck, don't get no fuck. What's in my cup? What's in my cup? Full of that punch, nigga, that punch. Bitch, I'm a ball, ballin' like Kobe. Ho, keep it moving, cause you do not know me. Bitch, I'm a ball, ballin' like Kobe. Ho, keep it moving, cause you do not know me. Bitch, I'm a ball, can't talk in Milwaukee. Tell my dog sick of me, ain't do no barking. Pass me some greens, you know I'ma spark it. Mama got ass, told her to arch it. Pull up at the spot, hop out and don't park it. Bino say, always keep one in the cartridge. With Joey out pepper, so we going toxic. Came from the swamp to visit the tropics. Check out the scenery. Tell lil' mama to the backwoods right by the lake. Can I have
Well, folks, as you already know, as the season of giving is right up around the corner, as we're getting ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday, why not give something that always keeps on giving? How about some merchandises from your favorite sports network here on all social media platforms, and of course, your favorite show on the network here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. Definitely go online. Spreadshirt is where it's at. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and a lot more cozy stuff to keep you warm during the holiday season. And keep giving. Spotlight Sports Network. Get yourselves geared up. And when you guys do, definitely send in and submit your photos over to us, and we can definitely post it up on our media pages. Give you guys a quick shout out and say thank you for all your support and love for the network and for the show.
And just to let you know, on Black Friday, it's 25% off everything on SpotlightSportsGear.com. So definitely go get your merch right there at SpotlightSportsGear.com.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, I mean, I'm excited for I've got this whole week off, man. This is the first time. This is the first time ever in like my life that I've ever had a job where I get a week off. I get a week off.
Wow, you got a week off. I got to work the whole week, man. I work all the way through.
Oh, man. But it's always good stuff. And I'll be out in California on Thursday, you know, spending time with the big family. So it's going to be a lot of fun up over there.
But before we go into the next topic, just want to throw out there breaking news that Taysom Hill did agree to the 4-year, $40 million contract extension with $20 million fully guaranteed, according to Ian Rappaport. So now they seeing that they probably going to keep Jameis Winston, but they paid Taysom Hill as well. So that's going to be something interesting in New Orleans right now. So, Jake, what are your quick thoughts on that?
I think my quick thoughts on it is like, I mean, good for Taysom Hill to get into payday. I mean, it's nice to at least, you know, be recognized as a valuable piece in this organization. I just truly think that because it's so hard to really predict what is Taysom Hill, a starting quarterback, wide receiver, like a defender, a running back. It's so hard to predict that because we've said it before. I've never said that he is a franchise quarterback. I never have, because
I don't think he will be, because he plays too many other positions.
But I do think he does serve a value in this organization, like very, very promptly. I really do think he does. And he'll do anything as far as what Sean Payton really has designed. And so I think this is good for the Saints. I think it's good for Taysom Hill. I mean, he's a freakish athlete. I mean, you ever see this guy in his social medias? Like the guy's ripped, he's built, he does a lot of crazy workouts, but you know what? That's just like you would think about this. He's literally a high school athlete playing in the pros. Like because high school athletes, like you and I that have been in high school, we probably had those guys. They were like multi-sport athletes. Like that's honestly how I see.
Yeah, I
Taysom
wasn't
Hill.
one of them ones. I wasn't one of them ones that had a ripped body, was jacked. I was still a big boy.
Yeah, and it's crazy, you know. And so when you've got a player like that, I just think he really does fit what this organization is. So good for Taysom Hill, good for the Saints. But we'll see what that looks like moving down 4 years under this contract. Hopefully that'll do some good for New Orleans moving forward. But I'll tell you, man, I mean, speaking of quarterbacks, you know, and with this contract extension, there are other teams that right now, after we saw from this past weekend, that I am very sure are considering what they want to do at their quarterback position. I really do.
I really hope you put the Raiders on that list. I really hope you did.
I honestly didn't, but I would love to get your thought as to why we would put the Raiders on this list. But I will tell you what my list is. So I think teams that really should consider their quarterbacks. I mean, the obvious ones are the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. I understand with Big Ben, they were in a position where they came back, they put up a chunk of points, but most of that wasn't just all Big Ben because you had to think of all of the components they have. That's one. I think the Seattle Seahawks, after what I watched last week, was just, I've said it before. I think Russell Wilson is not returning to Seattle. So they really have to consider their options at quarterback. And you have to think about it like after this is against a team that they're even in a position where they can end up making the playoffs themselves. Right. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals, like that was a team that that
could have been a statement game for Seattle.
It very much could have, but unfortunately, never went the way they did. The Cleveland Browns. I don't think they trust Baker Mayfield this much, mind you.
It's time for a new scenery for Baker Mayfield. Get out and dodge.
And think about this though too, because we know how Baker Mayfield is, and the fact that he has more commercial shots than he does of just not only just playoff wins, but wins against teams that are over 500. So that one was a close one by Cleveland, but mind you, he was dealing with injuries that he wanted to take his own risk of his health. And not to mention, that's a risk for the team. Right. So it tells you that's not really trustworthy. If you are not 110%, don't push yourself over the limit. Get yourself healthy first because you'll be held as a liability. And it's the reason why the Cleveland signed 2 of their offensive linemen because their strength is the offensive line.
Yep.
Because it built enough protection for Baker Mayfield, but it also builds a lot of open lanes for Nick Chubb. Because I think Nick Chubb is exactly the heart and soul of this squad.
But I got a question for you, Jake. Knowing that Baker Mayfield has a leg injury, he has a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Why you just don't play Case Keenum until you're fully healthy?
I think
that's the issue with Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback.
And you know what's funny?
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
And you know what's funny is I think about Case Keenum and I think about the time he was in both him Minnesota. And Kevin both him and Kevin Stefanski, they've been in this position before.
Right.
I mean, Sam Bradford, turns out he's just injury prone. Then Teddy Bridgewater, they gave him a shot, but even Teddy ended up getting hurt. And it's an unfortunate situation. But Case Keenum came in and took the Vikings to the NFC Championship against a tough Philadelphia Eagles team that made it all the way and won their Super Bowl. So Case Keenum knows this.
Right.
He knows exactly this type of scenario. But the fact that Baker Mayfield throwing himself out there, it's not like people are going to bash Baker Mayfield because of his injuries. Like, we understand it. A quarterback, as any athlete, you got to be healthy. You have to be in this league. I mean, look at what's happening in Indianapolis. Carson Wentz has a trustworthy offensive line, but he's healthy. I mean, he's been utilizing every single one of his pieces, and the Colts are where they are. And all it took was, we're building the healthy offensive line, so we don't have to feel like we're Carson Wentz reliant. So I don't know. Cleveland, they should have started Case Keenum. Get Baker Mayfield 110%, but this is part of Baker Mayfield's reality. Like and even with all these weapons, he didn't need OBJ. He didn't end up needing this and that, and neither did he have to feel like the quarterback to be the savior of this franchise. So I think that does tell you a lot about Baker Mayfield's judgments. There's some of them I agree with, like, cool, you're a warrior, awesome. But there are some judgments that I kind of like, maybe that's not so smart. So I think that's kind of where I sit at with the Browns. But the Browns are one of them. The Panthers, I mean,
me personally, right now, I think they're fine with Cam Newton. I think because they was in that game with the Washington football team. Mm-hmm. That defense could not do nothing to help Cam.
Yeah. And honestly,
I want to hear your thoughts on it, though, because I know Sam Darnold is going to be an issue for next season. They did bring up Matt Barkley. You got PJ Walker over there, and now you got Cam Newton. So it is some controversy as well.
A lot of it. That's why that I think that for Carolina, I mean, you got to be set with your quarterbacks. I mean, you if you had an opportunity to end up taking a quarterback or going into free agency, I mean, that would have been the shot. But Carolina's got a lot. They've got a lot to really think about. And Dave Tepper, who knows how this ownership is really going to go about it. I feel like they have a lot of the components. They're still working a little bit more on the growth of the defense, but quarterback's the big thing. The Dolphins, we know for sure. We don't know what we might get out of Tua. By the way, that was a great throw by Tua. That was
throw.
Probably the one best throw I've ever seen on Tua. But outside of,
he had back-to-back weeks, he had good throws. One that Thursday night against to Albert Wilson in Thursday Night Football, and then they had another big one against the Jets this weekend. So he's looking really good back-to-back weeks.
And then obviously, I mean, the Texans. I mean, that's only one organization that we know that because of the Deshaun Watson controversy, Tyrod Taylor, we know, like, unfortunate with the amount with just the events that he's gone on in his career in the NFL, from Buffalo to Baltimore to Cleveland to the Chargers to a lot of places, and never really having that sure shot of being of really just being the starting.
I think he needs to be the franchise quarterback in Houston. I think he needs to be.
I think so too, but who knows? But I'd love to hear your thoughts of why the Raiders. I've said this several times when it came to the Raiders that I do think in the last 2 years with Derek Carr, he's been the most consistent and efficient quarterback with throwing for over 4,000 yards and also completing at least 69% of his throws. And the only unfortunate part I've been saying about the Raiders, they don't have a true number one. The true number one is gone. He's done. And ultimately, the offensive line needs work. It just needs work. Because we all know how Raider fans feel about Alex Leatherwood. We all know how they feel about, the decisions from Mike Mayock and how John Gruden beforehand, how he worked this whole thing. But also, too, and I mentioned about it because of the consistency from the defense, consistency with play calling. Those are the most important things. So the Raiders have a lot to consider, but this is why I just don't think they really should give up on Derek Carr, at least and I know it's been years. I know it has been years, but you got to think about it. Derek Carr was in this position when he first came into this league until the second and into the 2015 year with Jack Del Rio and the rest of them. That felt like a good time to be a Raider fan. But the only unfortunate part was injured just once playoffs started and Connor Cook became the quarterback in the playoffs.
Right.
So we don't even see a whole lot of Derek Carr. That's why I'm like, they are there, but they need more consistency. They also need more help. And hopefully they give Derek Carr something so that way that it's not so like in Baltimore where it feels like it's a lot Mark Andrews reliant. The same thing when it goes to Derek Carr where he doesn't have to be Darren Waller reliant. Otherwise, you're easy to figure out of an offense.
And I'm gonna just state this, and I really hope that anybody that's a Raiders fan, tell the Raider Nation to come in here. Because what I'm about to say, y'all not going to like. I want Derek Carr to leave the Las Vegas Raiders and be successful somewhere else because he deserves better. He deserves better from the fans, and the fans do not ride with Carr. For the last 24 hours, they have bashed this man of 8 years of playing here. They didn't want him in the draft. They didn't want him for 4 years here. They didn't want him for 5 years here. They saying blow it up, including Derek Carr. And this is my problem with the Las Vegas Raiders. Everybody want to talk about the last 8 years when it comes to Derek Carr. What about the past 2 decades before Derek Carr? Look at the quarterbacks that we went through in this organization. People think Carr is the problem and Carr is the problem and not the solution. Who's really the problem and who's really not the solution? It's the front office.
Yeah.
Mark Davis at the top to bottom. Mike Mayock is not getting it done. He didn't do nothing to put players around Derek Carr. Yes, you went out and got a young Henry Ruggs. You went out and got a young Bryan Edwards, and you expected them to be number 1 receivers in 2 years of being in this league. Now Henry Ruggs won't play it down anymore in the NFL. Then you have a Greg Olsen. A Greg Olsen that's still running John Gruden's 1999 offense. He never had a number 1 receiver outside of Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. Right now, his number 1 is Darren Waller and Renfro.
Yep.
Which is not better than Michael Crabtree's stats in 2016. So these Carr haters talking about Carr needs to go. I understand he stuck up the joint. I understand he threw a bad interception. But who doesn't?
Yeah.
What quarterback doesn't throw a bad interception? Y'all call it for Marcus Mariota. And then he throws a pick. And he messes up when he gets to start. Then what? Are you going to keep that same energy with Derek Carr? And this is my problem with the Raider Nation. It was so many lives last night about Derek Carr needs to go. Be careful what you wish for, Raiders. Just be careful what you wish for. Because if you wish for Derek Carr to go, whoever that next quarterback is, we're still not going to be great. And I'm going to tell you why. Can you name how many quarterbacks we went through since 2002, Jake? Let's just be realistic here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, and it's so funny because I literally pulled up the list because I knew exactly where you were going with it.
You don't even have to name them. How many?
So
how many?
Out of the
before
quarterbacks,
Derek Carr got here, how many quarterbacks we went through?
Honestly, the quarterbacks that you guys have went through since 2002. I mean,
look, he's still counting. It's probably past 20 quarterbacks before Derek Carr.
That's literally 15.
15 quarterbacks before Derek Carr.
15 quarterbacks.
And y'all ready to get rid of him after 8 years?
And could they settle for another 8 years of finding a quarterback?
That's what I'm saying. People failed to realize the most realistic part about this organization as a team, as a franchise. We leave Oakland, we go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is not even Raider Nation when you have more visiting fans than you have Raider fans. That's one. Number two, you turn Allegiant Stadium into a concert stadium where people could throw WrestleManias and SummerSlams and you have Ludacris performing there.
Garth Brooks, you got a lot of.
That's not the Raiders, man.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to talk about how bad Carr is. How bad is this organization is.
Yeah.
I hope somebody's screen recording this, because if you screen record this, at me at Spotlight Raiders Talk on Instagram.
And here's what's funny about this is because I remembered when the conversation first started about the relocation. I mean, the Raiders haven't even imprinted their marks in Vegas yet. They haven't. And you have to think about all of, I think of draft picks. I think of veteran stars. I think of just up and coming players, but even I think of the front office as well. It's been very, very critical. And again, The Raiders and the Chargers were in the position where they were in relocation. The Chargers apparently wanted to stay in California, and they ended up taking the route of moving from San Diego to Los Angeles. I felt like that if they were moving out of California, I felt like they could have been a real good fit in Vegas. And the only reason of that is if you have an ownership that is just dying for more money. I mean, Vegas is on the map. They have a hockey team that imprinted. This is why I said before, as a born and raised like Nevadan, okay, Las Vegas, the imprints that are left here in this city is Golden Knights. The Raiders won't take that away. They won't, because it's not just because of the October 1st, like the whole tragedy.
Yeah,
the fact
of the matter
is that the fan base bought into this. The only reason why the Golden Knights are in the position that they are in right now
because they're winning.
They've been winning.
They're winning.
Yeah, they've been winning, and they've trusted everything.
That's the thing. Y'all say, "Oh, is Las Vegas is going to attract players to come here?" We've been here for 2 years. Who did we really attract?
Yeah,
that's just let's keep it a buck for these Raiders fans. Y'all say Derek Carr is not doing this. Derek Carr is not doing that. What big time relevant player that we have on our roster right now that we got in free agency? None. We got a bunch of old players that's the end of their prime. And we're settling for old players that just wanted to get paid and not win football games. And that's on both sides of the ball. With Richie Incognito, we still holding on to his contract.
Yep.
Well, we should have been cut Richie Incognito before we got even to 11 weeks.
And I've said this before, that the biggest stronghold of that offensive line had been Rodney Hudson. And they never, ever...
We gave up Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson for a defense that's all these former old behind Chargers. The only person I can say that's doing good right now for the Chargers is Casey Hayward.
Yeah. And I knew
Denzel Perryman.
Yeah.
And Damian Square. They're the only three. Out of everybody else, get those former Charger players out of here. KJ Wright, get him out of here. He's a former Seattle Seahawks that played under Gus Bradley. Get him out of here. He's not worth the money that he's getting. He's getting paid $6 million to be not even a starter on this Raiders defense.
Yeah.
But people want to blame Derek Carr. Derek Carr finally got a defense, but when he got a defense, Ruggs is gone now.
Yeah.
We don't have a running offense that we was based off of in the first couple of years in Las Vegas. We was a run first team. We blew up our offensive line. We got a reach at Alex Leatherwood. But everybody want to talk about how Derek Carr is performing on the field. And this has been going on since 2002 that we have not gotten anybody in free agency that was relevant.
And here's what's
relevant.
And here's what's funny about this, because let me tell you guys about number one wide receivers in this Raiders organization. Tim Brown.
Can we look at them?
I think the only ones that I can name off the top of my head that have been number one wide receivers, at least capable ones: Tim Brown, Randy Moss.
No, not Randy Moss. He wasn't good with us. He's not a Raider.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper, yes. Michael
Crabtree, definitely. Michael Crabtree. Outside of all that, that's the only ones that I could really, really point out from.
If you want to go back to the 70s, you could go back to Cliff Branch. You know what I'm saying?
Man, Cliff Branch. I mean, hell, if you want to go further than that, Fred Biletnikoff, And it's funny about all of this because, as I've said, no capable wide receiver at all. Like every single one of these guys have been like, have they picked up all these guys from practice squads?
Think about it, Jake. All those names that we named, only 2 of them was with Derek Carr.
Yes.
but we said Carr's the problem.
Think about what's funny about that. And the only one who's really like, I would never take him out of his position is Hunter Renfrow as a slot receiver. Outside of all that, you can't be Hunter Renfrow reliant. He's only got about one job to do. He can't be the number one wide receiver up on that, but that's what the Raiders, it feels like they're pushing. I don't think he is. I do think he's an X factor when it comes to red zone offenses, because we've seen what he's done in the red. I've seen him do so many things in the red zone, even in college.
And people was like, oh, why we need to go out and get a veteran number 1 receiver when we got Ruggs and Bryan Edwards? These guys are second-year players.
There's your reason.
But we have high expectations for second-year receivers. And Jesse wrote us, you come in my live streams on here, and what did I state all off season? That the Raiders need to go out and get a number 1 receiver. Yeah. People talking about, oh, the Raiders is going to get OBJ. You think OBJ wants to come to this dysfunctional franchise?
No. And especially with the dysfunctions of OBJ already.
What makes you think OBJ wants to come to a dysfunctional franchise? This is why people think, oh, we might get Deshaun Watson. We getting Russell Wilson. We getting Aaron Rodgers. We're not getting none of those until we get the front office and management out of there.
Hell, I'll tell you. It would have been a better option, and I'm probably right there. I'm right there with you on it. Probably getting Davante Adams would be the smarter option if he ends up leaving Green Bay. But
the thing about it is, the question is, will Davante Adams come here with this dysfunctional organization? That's the problem, because it's the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's not the on-field stuff. It's what's happening in that locker room.
Yep.
That locker room looks divided.
Yep.
Because some people want Derek Carr gone. Some people want Mariota to start. So it's a lot of dysfunction going on in this franchise, and it starts with Mark Davis. I don't think Devontae come here. I don't think Rodgers come here. No relevant players are coming to the Raiders next season. So expect another bad year for the Raiders next season.
Yep.
And then if Carr walks, and I've said this on Twitter, and I've been trolling Twitter all day long when it comes to the Raiders. I'm saying Derek Carr right now, demand your release or demand you a trade, because you don't deserve to be here. You deserve to be somewhere better, like Pittsburgh, New Orleans, a team that wants you, the fans that want you and cares about you. The Raiders fans don't give a shit about Derek Carr and have not given a shit about Derek Carr since he's got drafted. Enough said.
Oh yeah.
I ain't mean to curse, but I'm just saying.
Nah, it's all good. I mean, you got it out of your chest and everything, but I
didn't get a chance to speak about it.
Yeah, it's like I said, now it makes a lot more sense of the dysfunction here with the Raiders organization, and yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like, I don't think we'll have the time with Hot Press, but I would love to get to these quick caps because I think we know exactly what we're getting with every single one of the teams. I really, really do. So
I mean, it's up to you. Listen, I got time. I mean, it's up to you.
All righty. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll end up bypassing, but we'll definitely get to all of these quick caps because I do think, this was very important about how this weekend really went on. So with quick caps, because of course we always love to have our thinking caps on for the remaining minutes that we have of the show, and as usual, every Monday. We always recap every single one of the games every week and what we've learned from all of them. So we'll start with a Thursday night football game. Patriots, Falcons, New England, they're back.
Mac and cheese.
The Patriots shut out and just completely annihilated the Falcons. But here's what's interesting about this. Longtime franchises that have had so much success it's hard to even put them away. It's hard to.
Yeah.
I think everything is working right now. I think they are very much being the competitive team that even New England fans, as I've said before, this looks like when Tom Brady first arrived in the NFL, this is what it looks like with Mac Jones and the rest of the team. I think Bill Belichick is really proving something here. And so, like, he's not going to retire and just enjoy all of his time in Jupiter, Florida.
Right.
I think he's going to play this all out. And I think this is going to be one of the statements that he makes of, don't just give Tom all the credit. I've ended up building all of this stuff.
New England Patriots is the dark horse of the AFC. Watch out for them.
They are. Colts, Bills, colting in Buffalo.
The Bills did not pay their bills this weekend.
By the way, I said this before, up in this the segment of the show, the Colts look like the healthiest team right now in the NFL. Everybody is getting healthy at the right time. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, 5 total touchdowns. I mean,
Passing, catching, and running. That's insane to me.
And I honestly do think this is why I said he was the big time steal of the draft. I loved the pick that the Colts had gotten, and Chris Ballard's not an idiot. I think everything is working extremely to their works. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the Bills had a 5-1 odd in Vegas bets of getting into the Super Bowl. I think we need to pull back from that right now, because this doesn't look like the Buffalo team that looks like they're on the grind. They're playing better. I love Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't see them as Super. I don't see them as Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I don't see
Mitch.
Them as,
Mitch, I'm telling you right now, you better change your Super Bowl pick. Change it because they're going to disappoint you.
Yeah. Ravens, Bears, Huntley for playoffs. The Ravens are on the hunt. I mean, they're in the hunt trying to get up into there, and Tyler Huntley made it happen.
It wasn't the best.
It wasn't the best, but
it wasn't the best.
Worked.
But he did what needed to be done.
Or maybe I should just say this: nagging they're nagging away this whole thing, because right now Bears fans are not happy with Matt Nagy. They're not happy with the entire process itself. But I truly think I truly do think that the Ravens right now, they are a tough team. But it'll be interesting to see how this really pans out. Like how
the next
really,
6 weeks. The next 6 weeks is going to be tough. Really.
Oh yeah.
Tough.
And Lamar Jackson is going to be good to be coming back. Lions, Browns. That
there's nothing to say.
There's really nothing to say.
It's just ...
Yeah. I mean, the Lions have several opportunities. And now, even though there was no Jared Goff who started, but this is where you just look at this Detroit Lions team and it's sad.
You just feel bad for the Detroit Lions because they compete every week, but they just can never get over that hump, man.
Yeah.
They're so young, but I just feel bad for the Detroit Lions at this moment.
They never could. Yeah, they never could. And then this Thanksgiving, now they got to play the Bears. I feel like that's a trap game. I don't even know.
I feel like the Lions can beat the Bears the way the Bears been playing the last couple of weeks.
God, could you imagine that?
And no Justin Fields either. That might not be no Justin Fields this week either.
Yeah, they may not. Texans, Titans, Houston blowing out the fire. So the Texans,
Houston, we have a problem.
So the Texans ended up coming off of a big win against the Tennessee Titans, which I didn't see that coming, honestly.
I think nobody at the network thought the Texans was going to win this game.
No, and because we've been talking about it, the Titans were on fire. They were on fire. They were on a roll, but I think that's kind of where the fire blew out, and I just think
the fire blew out because it rained.
They did. It really, really did. Packers, Vikings, scolding on Aaron Rodgers. They're taking him back to Skol. I mean, that was probably a terrible pun, but the Vikings, Justin Jefferson had a hell of a game.
Absolutely.
I think he had a hell of a game. I don't look, this is not all Kirk Cousins is doing. Okay. This is telling you that they have the offensive weaponry. Only thing Kirk Cousins really has to do is trust every single one of his players. That's all he has to do.
Kirk just have a bunch of cousins that he's throwing to.
Pretty much. I mean, he's not exactly the trustworthy cousin, if you ask me.
Just to throw you off real quick, according to MLB, we got some breaking news here. Welcome back, Anthony. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he has a 3-year deal.
Anthony Desclafani.
He's coming back to the San Francisco Giants.
Oh wow, he had a great year. He had a great year with the Giants. So I don't know how the rest of their pitching staff is going to do, but great for Anthony Desclafani. Now let's see what the Giants do next year. It'll be interesting. Dolphins, Jets, Tua. Oh my. I mean, that throw from Tua Tagovailoa yesterday, that's probably the best throw I've seen him throw this year. That was a beautiful play. And we know that the Jets, I mean, you were only going to get so much out of Joe Flacco, but
I don't understand why they. I mean, he started out well.
yeah,
He played okay.
yeah,
But you wasn't gonna win football games with him at this moment. You're just not.
yeah. I don't think so. Saints, Eagles. Oh man, I mean, good Lord, I don't know. I don't know what I would say about that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how I would break that down, but I knew the Philadelphia Eagles were going to end up winning this game. I mean, the Saints with Trevor Siemian doesn't seem to work.
No Alvin Kamara, no Michael Thomas. They just depleted, man. They depleted on the offensive side of the ball.
But let me tell you, though, I mean, a lot of the things seem to be clicking right now for Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts and with the rest of I mean, the offense is really starting to click. So even though that they're in second of the NFC East, like there's a couple of
keep losing and Eagles keep winning, that it could just flip.
It could very much flip. It could
very impressed with Nick Sirianni, though. Very impressed with him. He's finally understanding that running the football is the way to win games in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Just don't go away from it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Washington Panthers, 2 Heineke's, please. Taylor Heineke looked real good against Carolina. And by the way, I mean, it was not just a statement game themselves. I mean, this is part of the reason why the Ron Rivera did not want to end up bringing back Cam Newton. But this was good. They were without, all their top stars at defense. But everybody started to play really, really well. I thought it was pretty efficient how I seen this offense play. But there are still some questions that are in the air with Washington moving forward.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. All the argument I said about Taylor Heineke on the morning show, look what happened.
It's starting to pay. Yeah, it's starting to pan out.
It just proved my case even more how good Taylor Heineke is with the Washington football team. He better be the starter for the next couple of years with this team. Seriously.
49ers, Jaguars.
Nothing to talk about.
Well,
49ers look good. They are 5-5. They are on the what 2 or 3 game winning streak. They're starting to come around too, starting to get healthy. And you just never know what this NFC West. Seattle was looking bad. The Cardinals still on the top of that. The Rams, they lost 2. So you just never know.
I honestly feel like that if San Francisco doesn't make the playoffs, but they could very much look like a spoiler in that division.
Yeah,
I very much did, because as I said, they looked like they were a spoiler against Sean McVay and the Rams. I'd like to see what San Francisco does in their in-division games, because that's going to tell you something. I don't think they're really sold on getting rid of Kyle Shanahan yet, but that'll tell you something if he really, really is upsetting a lot of these teams within the division. It has to. Like, you can't just give up on some sort of process like that, because we know about Jimmy Garoppolo. We know about this whole thing. But if you're doing something right in the division, I don't think that's something you move off your coach off of that fast.
It's just a quick breaking news as well. LeBron James and the Detroit Pistons player, I think his name is Stewart, they have been suspended for 2 games after the fight that happened in Detroit over the weekend. So LeBron James will have 1 game and Stewart will have 2 games.
Oh, man. Bengals, Raiders, burrowing in Vegas.
Man, the Bengals beat the Pirate.
Man,
that's exactly what it is. There's nothing to really talk about with this game.
Yeah,
this team sucks. The Bengals did what they took the opportunity. They beat us fair and square. They ain't no refs cheat. None of that. Yeah. Joe Burrow didn't look his best, but he did. Him and Joe Mixon did what needed to be done. Jamar Chase still their number 1 over there. They got some weapons. They look good.
I mean, Burrow had a really good time throwing.
Much respect to the Bengals.
Oh yeah. Cowboys, Chiefs. Are they for real?
They're not them boys.
I don't know how I feel about Dallas after this type of loss, but the only thing is, are they for real? Is Kansas City really for real that their backup is being the tough team?
In which we talked about.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see. Cardinals, Seahawks. Still bleeding red. I mean, Kyler
Murray came back last week. Came back yesterday as well.
Yeah, he did. And I think, and again, this is This is kind of a bad thing if you're Seattle right now with the way that the performance went and question marks about now what's going to happen with Russell Wilson. 6 weeks left. I mean, the last thing you want to do, I mean, Pete Carroll seems outdated, but the rest of the Seahawks team,
The whole team looks outdated. It's just the offense, the defense.
Yeah.
The whole Seahawks just look outdated. It's time for a change.
Steelers, Chargers stole a close show.
Bolt up. I don't care what Raider fans are seeing it. Bolt up.
Now, let me just tell you something because I was up on the rant. Like, you've seen me rant about it in the Sunday morning show.
Yep.
This right there was precisely what I have been talking about. Because how do you give away a 17-point lead and tie things up and make it so damn close? Like, that game gave me so much gray hairs. My girlfriend's sitting next to me, and she's going, what the hell is up with them? Like, but this is part of the life that you sign up for as a Charger fan.
Same thing for the Raiders.
Because I do think you would get the best out of this Chargers team, but this was so close. Why is it so close? And on top of it, Cameron Hayward had one of the best plays that he made off Justin Herbert. That bat away and that interception.
Oh, yeah.
That killed me. I was just like, dude, I can't.
I know you was probably like throwing your head at the TV and pissed off and everything.
Dude, I would have been like, I can't see more of this. If this is how this game is going to go, sell the team, Dean. But they managed to get a win. It was way too close. But by the way, that was a beautiful 3-play scenario in that offense. That's all it took was 3 plays for Mike Williams to get up downfield, and they were able to get the lead
Just
back.
like Tayrock said, he wanted Herbert to throw it to Mike Williams. You got your wish.
Yep. And finally tonight, Giants, Bucks. Oof.
I got my upset in the bag.
Oh man, you're gonna call this a gigantic upset?
I'm calling an upset. Tom Brady, no matter who it is in the New York Giants, Tom Brady is not successful for them.
I'd be like,
he's not successful against the Giants. He's just not.
I'm more like gigantic to judge.
No, I'm saying Gronk is coming back.
Yeah,
tonight that might make a big difference, but still, you have no reliable receiver outside of AB. AB is not coming back tonight.
Yeah.
So, I just really feel like, with the Giants, they've been playing really well since they beat us, since they beat my Raiders. Yeah. So, I'm taking an upset. It's not going to be a blowout. I got a 3-point win over the New York Giants.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Tampa might pull it away, but it'll be interesting to watch tonight.
They got to bounce back after the last 2 games they lost.
All righty, folks. Well, that's going to conclude it here for the Snake Sports Talk Show with myself and Darion Hopkins here. We absolutely love you guys coming on for supporting the show.
Absolutely.
We definitely keep your support, and we'll definitely see you on the next episode of the Snake Sports Talk Show. Oh, man. Yep. Bobby's already going off. Well, already. I definitely got to bounce, but we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Snake Sports Talk Show. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Take care, guys.
Peace out. Love and blessings, man. Love and blessings.